Welcome everyone to part 1 of the CRUD method tutorial with Kivy. So once again, in this tutorial you will learn about how to use the Json file to edit, to update your data, whatever data you have. And also you will generally also learn about how to use your Json file to sort of generate buttons, to save also the information, and also to once again load the information in the form of buttons with the data. All right, anyway, let me not annoy you with too many words. I know that you learn better through practice. So let's go on. So in the first part, we're going to be creating the layout. Yes, so of course the CRUD method has to do with creating information, reading information, updating information, and also deleting information. I know here it says CRUD. It's actually supposed to be CRUD with a D for delete. I will edit that after our tutorial. So as you can see, we just have our Py file and our Kivy file. So both of them are empty, as you can see. There's nothing there. So we building this from scratch. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is let's open this up. Open with our IDE. Okay, so let's go on. So I will not really be explaining everything, so please do follow along. I will try to explain here and there, so it might be noisy where I'm at, so I won't explain at certain times. Just know that maybe it's a bit noisy and stuff. Yeah, but just follow along. Okay, all right, so let's get started. Our very first thing we're going to do is we're going to import, of course, everything we need. So from Kivy app import app. All right, and then of course, very important, from Kivy import screen manager, and also we'll also so how the what I'm trying to build here, I'm going to be building two screens in a way. So it's going to be two screens, screen 1 and screen 2, and then that's why now we have the screen manager, because we have more than one screen. So if you're working with more than one screen, that's when you'll have to have screen manager to manage the screens. And I also want to transition in a particular way between the screens. So I did have a tutorial regarding using transitions. Please do have a look at it. So in this case, we're going to be using a swap transition. All right, so I think we've imported everything. So let's go on now and create our screen class. Whenever I cannot explain, I will comment the explanation so that everyone can know what's happening. All right. Okay, and then we've created our screens. So of course now let's create our screen manager class, in which case we'll call it the window manager class window. I have quite a number of tutorials regarding using screen manager, so please do have a look at them. And please do let me know in the comment section if you have any questions. Okay, and then finally, let's create our app class so that we can run the code. Main app. Okay. Build self. Okay, so in this case, we will return our window manager. All right, so return window manager. All right. Yes. So in this case, we want to also use a transition. So we're going to put a transition. Then the transition we're using is swap transition. So once again, if you want to understand about transitions, please do look at my previous tutorial. I do not want to make this tutorial very long. Okay, so let's go on and run. Okay, I think everything is in order. I'm hoping there's no errors here. So let's go on and run and see what we have. I have an error. Okay, so what did I do? What did I do wrong? Transition. Oh yeah. Let's see. Okay, so here I'm supposed to put brackets. There we go. It should work now. I'm not surprised there was an error. Tends to be always errors somewhere. All right, so there we go. So everything is in order, as you can see. Yeah, of course there's no widgets that we've put yet, so you don't see anything. So let's go on and get creative and start working on the layout. Okay, so for the layout, we're going to use our Kivy file. So let's go on and open it. So as you can see, there's nothing here. So what we want to do is, firstly, we want to have our window manager class, window manager. And then under the manager class, we're going to put all the screen. So we did define the screens here. So as you can see, we have screen 1, screen 2. So we're just going to put those screens here. So screen 1. And you want to give it a name. So name, we can just call it screen 1. So the name is very important when we want to navigate between the screens. So the other screen is screen 2. Well, let's also name it. I'm gonna name it screen 2. I'm not being very creative with the names today. Not that I've been creative. Okay, so now we've created our window manager class here with all the screens, right? So now what we want to do is, now we want to work on the widgets of our screen. So let's go on screen 1. Okay, so now we're going to put everything that we want screen 1 to show. So let's go on and have a label in screen 1. Let's give it a text. And the text, what can the text be? Maybe the text can be, let's just say CRUD method. It can be anything. Yeah. Or in the case, maybe you're creating a app of sorts. Let's just say maybe task manager app. All right. So that's the label, and then let's also give it maybe a font size, so that the size is well managed, 25. Let's also position the label so that we want it slightly in the middle, but slightly up. So center X, so which means it's going to be in the middle. Okay, center Y, slightly up, 0.6, so it's slightly up. And the reason why we want it slightly up is because we also want to have a button. Okay, so let's have a button, and this button, it can have a text. In this case, the text can be continue, so it will lead us, this button will lead us to the next screen in a way. So let's go on and give it a size. Maybe let's use size hint so that the size can adjust itself. Yeah, and also let's position it. Pause hint. So let's just copy this. Don't want to type this again. but of course we want it to be slightly below, so let's change this to 0.5. Alright, so as you can see, we have the task manager app here, and then we also have the continue button. Alright, so of course nothing happens yet because we haven't put a function yet. So let's call up a function. So we can say on press. So we want to navigate to another screen, so we can just say root manager, and then we can say current. Then we can name the screen we want to go to. So in this case, we want to go to screen 2. So let's just copy. Don't want to type. Yeah. So now when we press this, it will lead us to screen 2. But of course, screen 2 doesn't have anything yet. So just to show you. Okay, so continue. As you can see, it goes to the screen. I'm sure you did notice that there's a particular transition I'm using. Yeah, but I don't want to explain that. Just look at the previous tutorials. Okay, so now our first screen is sorted. It just leads us to the to screen 2. So let's go on and work on screen 2. Screen 2. Okay, so screen 2, it's going to be a lot of widgets here that we're going to be dealing with. So and also we will be using IDs. So just to explain slightly about IDs, they help us sort of like they help us as a reference point for the widgets in case we want to edit them or we want to put something in those widgets. So some widgets now I will give them an ID. So this will come in handy later on when we start working with the actual functions for the CRUD method. Yeah, anyway, let's get started. So box layout, right? So the box layout, let's give an ID. Let's call it main. All right. So whenever we want to edit this layout, we can always use the term main, the ID main. Okay. So orientation. So we can give it an orientation vertical. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it a title of sorts. So text, let's just say welcome. All right. What else? Let's give it size, hint y. We don't want the text to we just want it to not be too big. Font size, maybe let's give it a 20. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so this will sort of be like the title of the screen in a way. Then we'll have another box layout. I hope you do understand in terms of how layouts work and everything. So if you have maybe something you'd like me to explain a bit more, please feel free to let me know in the comments. It might be a long time until I explain. Yeah, but I will get there eventually. Okay, so so what we're going to do is so we have this, this box layout, right? And then in it we will have the sort of like the title, and then we will have another box layout. So this box layout, it's where our notes will be, or or our buttons will be whenever we generate buttons or generate more information. So of course, when you generate information or when you add notes, it can become like a lot of notes. So it's always good to then try to use like a scroll view of sorts. All right, so we're gonna put here a scroll view. You might not understand fully now, but as you follow along with the tutorials, you'll understand why we need to put the scroll view. So size hint 1. So once again, I did also make a tutorial regarding how to use scroll view. So please do have a look at it. Oh, it's supposed to be do, not so. So do, okay, do scroll X. Okay, I think everything is in order. Okay, so we'll have our layout here, and then we'll give it an ID. We'll just call it box for now. So once again, don't worry about the IDs yet. So this will come in handy when we want to put like widgets, within widgets and things like that. So this will come in handy next time. Okay, so minimum height. Okay. Size hint none. Orientation also vertical. Okay. Yeah, so let's go on and run this and see what we have so far. Okay, task manager. All right, so there we go. So we have our welcome there, and then we have our invisible. You cannot see, but we have our invisible box layout here with the scroll view in it. All right, and then finally we're gonna now put our final widgets here at the bottom. So let's go on and do that. Okay, so now we want to put our box layout again. Okay, let's also give it an ID. Let's call it the editor. All right, so we're going to call it the editor in this case. All right, so orientation vertical. Okay, size hint, let's give it a size hint, maybe a size hint Y instead, Y of 0.3, and then let's put in another box layout in it. Let's use this, just copy this. Okay, so we have a box layout, which we're also going to give it a size hint Y 0.2. Okay, and then let's also give it an ID. So let's call this read. Yeah, so once again, don't worry too much about these IDs. Yeah, when we do the next part of the tutorial, you'll be able to understand the significance or the importance of having them. So let's go now and have our widget in the box layout, which is going to be a text input. So this one will be to add the title. So we can just give it an ID of title input. All right. So of course, since it's going to be to put a title, we can maybe have a hint text which indicates that we can just have title like this. Okay, and let's give it a size hint as well, so that it can have a particular size. Size hint y as well, and we can give it 0.05. Then let's have another text input. And this one here can be like the body, basically. So we can just say body id body input. You see, usually when you have like a, let's say a note, you have the title, then you have the body. So it's something like that. Okay, so let's also have a size hint y. Let's give it 1.15. Yeah, 1.15. Yeah, so let's have a look and see what we have so far. Okay, yeah, as you can see, nice, right? So we have our title, we have our our body, where we can put the body, so you can put your title like a note title, and then so let's go on and also have the buttons. So in this case we're going to be using toggle buttons. So I did explain about toggle buttons in past tutorials. So if you haven't looked at that, please do have a look at that tutorial. I will not explain much here. Okay, so what we have, ID, no, let's not give the ID here, but let's give the button a size hint, y. What am I doing? Size hint y. Let's give it a 0.1. So we don't want the buttons to be too thick, and then we're using toggle buttons. Toggle button. All right. So the first button we want. Just to now, let me not explain this. I assume you guys do already know this, so I won't explain. So let's go on and create. The very first toggle button here will be to create. It will be the create button. Alright, so which means it can have a text maybe which says create. Okay, so what else we want to do? So we want to link the toggle buttons together. So we want to create a group. If you don't understand this, please refer to the previous tutorial. So we have a group, we're giving it a group A. Right, so let's go on now, and so we will create 4 buttons. So let's just go on and just don't want to take long on this. Okay, so toggle button, the create button. So what other button do we need? We also need a button to read, maybe, so we can have a read button. All right, we also need, let's also change the ID maybe to read. Okay, and what else do we need? We also need what other button do we need? We also need an update CRUD. So it's CRUD, so update. So we need an updates button. You can just say updates. Yeah. Okay, and then the other button we need, I think this is the favorite button, which is the delete button. Delete. For those who know, they know. Delete. I am Kira. Okay, so we have created everything. So let's go on and run and see how everything looks like. I'm hoping there's no mistakes here. Okay, let's go on. Alright, amazing. Check that out. So we have our layout here. So we can put our title, we can put our body or whatever, then you can have the create. So whenever you press the create, what we eventually want this to do is we want this to create sort of like a note, basically, to save the note of sorts. The read will allow us to read the notes. The update will allow us to update, meaning you can edit, what you've already written before. And then you can have the delete. Yeah, so that's it for this tutorial. So please do subscribe. I appreciate the support. And yeah, you also don't want to miss out on the next tutorial. So stay tuned. Until next time, see you.